Hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk about my experience as a victim of verbal abuse and gaslighting. And if anyone is interested in this topic and has things that they would like me to go deeper into, just comment below. I'm not going to get into everything in this video. I also would encourage you to do some of your own research, looking up like definitions and sort of like the psychological studies and information out there about verbal abuse, what it is, how it affects people, and what gaslighting is, which the short answer is that gaslighting is when it's a manipulation tactic where somebody, the aim is to get you to doubt your own perspective and your own reality and your own opinions. It's a control technique. And I have been a victim of gaslighting in many ways, and the reason why I'm doing this video today is because over like the past few weeks I've gotten sort of like an influx of either hearing friends mention something that happened. I mean, I wasn't even planning on doing this video today, but a friend of mine reached out about something that was happening to her, and I just sort of I've noticed how my reaction to hearing that people I care about are being gaslit or manipulated has changed, and I want to explain why. And I hope that if anybody has experience with this, that this video could at least be a little bit helpful. But pretty much I noticed that I was not triggered by this anymore. I mean, I'm sure I still am, and I still am going to, because I do have a lot of very bad experiences where I've had, like people I've dated, like pathologically lie about me, say blatant lies, say things as like, oh, she took this class. She signed up for this class so that she could stalk me when I was not even registered in the class, like was not even in that class, was not even stalking the person, hasn't seen them in months. I've had character assassinations done to me and people I care about a lot, and psychologically it's affected me a lot. And I want to just sort of say a couple things that I've learned. As I mentioned, this video isn't really planned, but, and also like, really the main thing that it comes down to is discernment. If you can increase your own discernment, and if you could trust the power of discernment in others, I think that that can really aid some of the emotions that you're feeling. Because whenever I'm in that spot where what somebody is saying is affecting me deeply and psychologically, there are a few reasons for that. One, they're literally manipulating you to doubt your own perspective. So if you have the experience of doubting your own perspective or doubting the power of your own perspective, then please don't shame yourself for how you're acting, because if you are being manipulated, it's absolutely normal to respond. Like the whole phrase, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you, is absolute bullshit. And now psychology is starting to prove that. I mean, like, people have trauma and mental health issues and effects later in life due to the words that people say, because words have meaning and stories have meaning, and we are an interconnected species where if you have an emotional problem with somebody else, it's gonna affect you. Like, you are a human and you have emotions, and if something stirs something up in you, something is meaningful to you, it's absolutely normal to react. So I just want to say that as well. So going back to what I was saying, whenever I'm in those scenarios where I feel really triggered because somebody is saying something that is either untrue about me, or they're twisting my words, or they are threatening to tell lies about me and assassinate my character and take things out of context, which is a big fear of mine, like, to be honest. Like, it is a huge fear of mine, especially since I have decided to put myself out there. And I know that that's a consequence that happens to lots of people, because yeah, I'll go into that another time. But I mean, I've had the experience of somebody who I dated, like, would provoke me either in person or through, like, intentionally subtweeting me on social media, or like intentionally, like, listening to songs that were, like, considered our song, like, on Spotify, and then, like, just a bunch of weird shit, like, either in person or not in person, intentionally provoking me or texting me. And then we would get into a conversation, and then they would delete all of their messages and then show people to make it look like I was talking to myself and to make me look crazy. And the thing that manipulators can do is actually make you feel like you're crazy, because if they can get enough people to on their side, and if they can paint a narrative, it makes you wonder, why is this even happening to me to begin with? What did I do wrong to begin with? And am I crazy? And what happens is, a lot of pure-hearted people that do want to be the best person that they could be, and want to be honest and authentic and vulnerable, is, as opposed to being quick to be like, no, you're wrong, like, know that you're wrong about me, and just have that boundary. What normally happens is they go, it's like, the dynamic is like that the gaslighter doesn't take responsibility for anything, and then the people that they're gaslighting, the victims, take responsibility for everything. And that's how they have their power over you. Because if you just believe, like, no, that's bullshit, I know that that's not true, then it doesn't hurt you anymore. But it's you doubting your own perspective that makes the pain stay there. And so, again, I just want to say, I don't want you to blame yourself if you have those feelings of shame and blame because somebody is manipulating and gaslighting you, because that's the natural human response to have. But what I will say is that when you realize, and you are empowered enough to understand that your perspective is your perspective, and nothing that they can say or do can ever eliminate that, because the truth is the truth. And if you believe your own truth, it's not going to hurt. And the more that I have grown in loving myself, the less I care about what other people say. But at the same time, like, I'm telling you, I care what other people think so much. Like, I think I'm always going to care to some extent. Like, I'm definitely not, like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm sitting here like as though I have all the answers, because I don't. But I do know that the answer involves, like, that the pain will go away if you don't believe what the gaslighters and the manipulators are saying. Now, do I have a shortcut onto how to stop believing what they're saying and to just love yourself? No, I don't, because that is hard emotional work that you have to take. But if people are saying things that are blatant lies about you, and you know that they're blatant lies, being defensive and correcting them is just continuing to engage with this energy and fueling them. You're fueling the reason why they're even trying to get you to doubt your perspective to begin with is likely because they're intimidated by your own, like, power. They want to knock you down to feel the way that you feel. I mean, like, point blank, it's bullying is what it is. And I don't know if everybody that gaslights and verbally abuses knows that they're being a bully, but it's just like, I am the sort of person that always sees the best in people and wants to watch them grow and everything. But I've had to learn over the years, some people are just miserable people and they want to knock people down to make them feel more miserable because they don't have anything else to live for. I mean, like, I don't want to separate like from good people and bad people, and I'm not trying to judge people, but I think in order to keep the good ones safe, and I'm not even trying to, in order to keep the people that really are doing their best safe, it's important to know that some people are trying to knock you down and some people are miserable. It's important to know that because it's important to be on the lookout for that so that you don't naively have your boundaries completely down and not use discernment. So let me just talk about discernment here. Well, one, it's important to have discernment before you let people in to begin with. Now, a lot of you guys who are victims of gaslighting and verbal abuse might have a really hard time being like, oh my goodness, why did I let this person in to begin with? I was so stupid. How dare I think that they were a friend or whatever it is. You might think, oh, I was wrong about them or whatever. I have dealt with that a lot. I've dealt with a lot of shame and self-criticism, beating myself up for being wrong about somebody. But with that, you have to realize the nuance and that everybody's good and bad and that you were seeing good qualities. You weren't wrong. And maybe you were at the same level as this person and then you've just grown and they haven't matured. And that's why, like, they're trying to knock you down back to their level. Maybe they did change, or maybe they changed. Maybe something happened in their life where there's like a trauma reaction. There's so many things that could be happening, but your takeaway should never be that you were wrong and that you were bad, because, shame doesn't help anybody. All it does is make you more reactive and more defensive and less in control of your own emotions and your own perception, because you're pretty much handing over your own power and handing over your own self-control whenever somebody is manipulating you, gaslighting you, verbally abusing you, and you are responding. Every time that you try and control your reputation by telling other people your side of the story over and over and over again and like making disclaimers, it's just gonna make you look guilty even though you're not guilty. And I know that you're not guilty, and the right people are gonna know that you're not guilty. So even if you have done that, I guess another thing I really want to get across is that there's nothing that you can do to directly stop people who are manipulating you because they're miserable. The only thing that's going to get them to stop is to stop giving them access to your space and your energy. I mean, they only are able to get to you if you have your boundaries down. And do I know how to all of a sudden have strong boundaries? No, I don't, because I'm still working on that. But I do know that that has something to do with why it even hurts to begin with. Really just removing access to your space and your energy is the only answer that I could think of. If you have any other ideas, please let me know. But like, whenever I see friends being like, what should I do? This person is spreading lies about me. This person is, intentionally prodding me and manipulating me, and I want them to just leave me alone. It's okay to block. It's okay to mute. Whatever it is you need to do. And I know that a lot of you are worried about blocking on social media because you're afraid that all they're going to do is then go around and laugh with their friends or be like, oh my God, she was so triggered that she blocked me. Haha. Like, I know you're afraid of that, but you have to know that setting your own boundaries, no matter how sloppy they are, is so much more important than if they've already manipulated you, it doesn't matter what they're going to say. Like, it does not matter what they're going to say, because if it makes you feel better that that they no longer have access to your energy, then that's worth it. So in addition to, one, having discernment about people before you even open up to them to begin with, that's a whole other topic. That's something that I've just like learned to slowly do naturally. The more people have hurt me, the more closely I look at people before I let them into my space to begin with. So that's one thing. The other thing is to trust your own discernment over a situation, because you're the only one in the world who has access to all of the information of your own life experiences. So the moment that somebody is saying something like, you said this, you feel this, you had that intention, whenever they're using all these you statements, trying to sum you up and sum up your intentions, that is a hard boundary that you have to set, because that person is not curious about your perspective. They are trying to spoon feed what their perception of your perspective is and make you doubt your own. You say, like, if they are trying to speak for you and twist your words, that is a huge red flag. And I've learned to never let anybody like that into my space. Like, seriously, like, hands down, like, and that has made people tell me that I'm being overreactive and that I'm being dramatic. But the second that somebody thinks that they know my perspective more than I know my own perspective, that is a huge red flag that I want you guys all to be aware of. But also, like, so that's a red flag, as I mentioned. But like, they're trying to get you to not trust your own perspective and to put their own, feed their own, and sort of shove your perspective out just through the power of what they're saying about you. And in these situations, it's so important to hold your perspective strong and to protect it. And so if that's why, if blocking helps, then do it. But you need to protect your own perspective with love and care. And even though, of course, you're not going to abandon yourself, and of course you know that they're being crazy or that they're manipulating you or whatever. I'm sorry for using the word crazy. I try and avoid that word. Even though you know that what they're doing sometimes, or some of you know, it's still important to care for your perspective, even if you already know it. Like, it's not enough to just know your perspective. You have to care for it. You have to protect it. You have to love it. And you have to honor it. You have to honor you. You have to honor your unique voice. It's not enough to just brush it off. Because when people are verbally attacking you, there's energy behind that. And you have to respond with armor to your heart, over your heart. Don't let those people near your heart. Like, don't let toxic energy near your heart, because you wouldn't let, like, toxic waste near your home, you know? Like, it's not enough to just know, oh, this is toxic. You have to love, you have to honor, you have to protect, and you have to remove yourself, and you have to trust your own discernment. And then the last thing I'll say is that you have to trust the discernment of others, because it's not your job to tell other people what they should think about you and how they should feel about you and what the correct perception is of you, because you only want to surround yourself with the types of people who are willing to think twice before they listen to gossip. Your tribe, the people that you want around you, are not going to just listen to whatever gossip that they hear of the day and just expect that to be true without questioning it themselves. You know, there are critical thinkers out there. There are people out there that have dealt with this behavior themselves and are quick to wonder if somebody might be in a situation where they're being framed or manipulated. And like, I guess I'm just saying that, like, the stronger you are in your truth, the more you honor your own perspective and your own self, and set boundaries and stop being defensive and reactive. It's gonna just energetically attract the people to you that are also loving themselves and that aren't miserable enough to try and take you down. And also, as I mentioned, it's not your job to try and control your reputation and push your perspective out there to everybody else, because if they don't believe it, if they're not interested in seeing the real you, and if they want to look at other people's words about the real you and not what your words were, or not at least approach the situation with curiosity and warmth towards all people, then I really don't think that you're missing out anything, honey. You're not missing out anything, honey. So, all right. Thanks for watching this. If anyone has any questions or any topics that interested you, if there's enough interest, I would love to go into this topic more. Subscribe, support on Patreon if you are interested in what I do. And I also have a Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth, if you're into that. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.